Roger.
20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Roll's completed.
Roger, roll complete.
There goes the pitch.
Roger, pitch. You're on your way, Molly Brown.
Yeah, man.
We're a little bit high on the flight path, but no problem, Molly Brown.
Okay, Molly Brown's go for staging.
Roger, looks good from here.
Roger. Program update received.
Roger, update.
Okay, there was staging.
Roger, stage.
And we're thrusting.
Okay, thrust looks good from here.
Show full scale round to there. Okay, we're starting to steer. The horizon's got right in view.
Roger.
Our GS is go.
Looks good from here.
Oh man, look at that.
Steering is good from here.
Stand by to copy 2-1.
Roger.
Delta V 139. GMTRC 155547. GETRC 013147. Roll left 55. GMTRB 160531. Roll right 65.
Roger, copy Delta V 139. GMTRC 155547. GETRC 013147. Roll left 55. GMTRB 160531. Roll right 65.
Roger.
Now can I in Capcom? Go ahead. Roger, your technical burn will be 48 feet per second for 73 seconds. Okay, 48 feet per second for 73 seconds. So far, we got your TR and Gemini load in. Your clocks look good on the ground. Everything's go here. See you next trip.
Molly Brown, Cape Capcom.
Go, Cape Capcom.
Look better from there than on a ballistic flight?
Say again?
Does it look better from there than on a ballistic flight?
I can't read the girl.
Roger, how do it look?
It looks great.
Raj.
Carnarvon, Capcom, K-Flight.
This is Carnarvon, go ahead.
Ask him if any of the things we asked him to try did anything with the control system. I'm not concerned about it, just want to know how it acted. As far as we're concerned, he's go for the second orbit.
You still got a blood pressure, John? We didn't read it.
Hey, sir, okay, I'll give you another one.
Okay. Just wonder if he was breathing. Pretty spectacular up there, huh?
Say again?
Pretty spectacular up there, huh?
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
RKV from Cape Flight.
Cape Flight, RKV, Capcom.
Roger, you are prime for retro.
Roger, understand.
some truly amazing things occur, but it also feels so unorganized in what it wants to be. It's almost like an anthology SW.
That's a good way to put it, AT-AT. Good to see you, man. Thank you so much for the support this evening. Before the stream even technically began, Caleb Kemp and Night of Sean as well. Good to see you guys. I hope the three of you are having a fantastic or an into your weekend. I'm sipping on some coffee here. Because I need a little pep in my step. I am worn out, man. It's been a long day. Dinner went a little later than normal. We put our daughter down for bed almost an hour later than normal. And I was debating about doing a stream or not, but I felt like I get antsy. I get restless, and I need to do something. And what better way to release that energy into a live stream? But welcome one and all. Let me turn down the music in my headset so I can hear myself think. Mr. Sean, Caleb Kemp, and AT-AT chat. Thank you, guys. Night of Sean says no. Answering the question, did you like The Rise of Skywalker? Sean said no. Yeah, dude, I'm pretty 50-50 on it, to tell you the truth. There's no secret that I like The Last Jedi more than The Rise of Skywalker. I found a lot of the ideas in The Rise of Skywalker to be pretty... I'm actually working on a video, and the way I describe it is generic. It felt like a big, generic blockbuster that wasn't very inventive. I think we probably see pretty eye to eye on things, Sean. I'm not one to need narratives to go a certain way for me to enjoy it. I want to be, surprised. I want to be taken aback by what's going on in the story. I want to be along for the ride with the twists and turns. But there weren't really twists and turns in this movie, for me at least. It was all pretty predictable. It's funny to me, man. Like, people are saying the same things about The Rise of Skywalker and the sequel trilogy as they said about the prequel trilogy when I was, 13 in 1999, on forums and in comic shops. It's just kind of funny to see this like cyclical thing coming around and around. Disney doesn't know how to make a Star Wars movie. Well, that's exactly what people were saying about George Lucas in 1999 and onwards. He doesn't know how to make a Star Wars movie. He doesn't know what makes Star Wars great. Okay. All right, cool. All right, dude. But thanks, Sean. Probably see pretty eye to eye on things, but yeah. And Caleb Kemp, thank you for following me on Instagram. Absolutely. I posted that stupid picture on Instagram of my Wicket socks. And I saw that you liked it, and I was like, oh shit, Caleb. And it was a no-brainer, man. Instant follow. I don't really check my social media notifications or home pages, whatever you want to call them, very often. But when I do, I usually find some folks to follow for sure. But yeah, you happen to be at the right spot at the right time, Caleb, for me to see that little heart pop up. And I was like, oh, Mr. Caleb. But anytime, man. Anytime. And AT-AT chat, I think I'm sort of forever conflicted on this film. One, I'm getting a little cold too, so I apologize. One hand, some truly amazing things occur, but it also feels so unorganized in what it wants to be. It's almost like an anthology Star Wars. That's a good way to put it. I keep saying that it felt like it did not feel like a continuation. It did not feel like a sequel. Calling it an anthology movie is, I guess, a pretty good way to describe it. I'm pretty conflicted as well. I have a feeling with multiple viewings, a lot of the things that I disliked about it will subdue. The things that I like are probably similar to the things that you liked. One of the most interesting things in this entire sequel trilogy has been, or was, Rey and Kylo's relationship. I thought that was played up really nicely. I really liked the way it was executed in the final chapter of this trilogy. Everything else around the movie, though, everything else surrounding it was so convoluted and messy. And it's kind of interesting, AT, because I'm working on a video right now. I'm doing a little, I don't know, a little diving into some... But anyway, it's interesting to me looking at the critic score and the audience score. Not only for The Rise of Skywalker, The Last Jedi, and Star Wars, but for all movies. I tend to side with the critics. It's just an interesting kind of dynamic going on there. And I'm trying to figure out why that is. I'm trying to figure out why there is often such a divide with new movies, specifically with new movies. But yeah, conflicted anthology. Good way to put it, for sure. Good way to put it. But I appreciate that, man. It's because you're a Palpatine. Yeah, that's you're a Palpatine. Okay. Yeah. All right. It's pretty. I don't know. I talk about that extensively, even more in the video that I'm hoping to get out early this week. But let me pull my microphone a little further. There we go. All right, here we go. There we go. Darth Korn, just Google HelloGreedo Stormtrooper armor. You'll find it. BK Games, thank you so much for the silent support this evening, man. I don't know if you meant to type a little message in there or if you wanted to be a silent supporter, but I appreciate it all the same, man. Thank you so much, BK. And Max Harrison, really let down by how exposition drove the narrative opposed to motivation in 8. Characters felt shallow, wasting the potential that 8 set up. That's a good way to put it as well. And the thing is, about the exposition, there was a lot of exposition, don't get me wrong. But a lot of the exposition, I felt, didn't really explain things. Not that I need everything explained. I'm not one of those Star Wars viewers that needs every little detail explained or even reasons for things happening to be explained. As I've said before, I'm fine with all the exposition that we need being in the first minute of an opening crawl, right? I'm completely fine with that. So, but it did feel very bogged down with a lot of exposition. And a lot of it wasn't, to me, very necessary. But it was exposition that did not feel... How do I put this? It was exposition that didn't feel natural. It almost felt like, you turn to the camera and just say, hey, audience, this is for you. Listen up. This is for you. And exposition is without a doubt for the audience, even if the character is learning something. It's so we can, go along. We can be a part of the learning process for the main character, right? But definitely bogged down. And yeah, characters, I don't know. Just, man, the more I think about it, that's going to be the title of the next video. The more I think about the Rise of Skywalker, ... It's just kind of like a generic, pretty shallow. I actually say shallow in my upcoming video, which is kind of funny. But it felt like it appealed to like the most basic Star Wars fan inside of me. Didn't really challenge me. Didn't really bring anything inventive or new. And I had just kind of, a pretty shrug of the shoulders perspective on the whole experience, to tell you the truth. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. Let me take a quick sip of the old coffee. And Felix Shaw, thank you so much, man. It's a mixed bag, but definitely has its highlights. Oh yeah, for sure. Has a lot of fun moments. And the moments between, as I said, the moments between Rey and Kylo, Rey and Ben, are fantastic, as they were in the Last Jedi. I found kind of the empathy and sympathy that they grew to have between one another in their similar situations in the Last Jedi. I thought the payoff was, for the most part, pretty good in the Rise of Skywalker, and that's one of the only threads that I really liked in the movie, But yeah, what are some of the good highlights? Like, for me, when I think of the Last Jedi, it has so many great moments, and I guess moments and highlights, as you put it, highlights. And for the Rise of Skywalker, there's not very many of those like hit me in the gut moments that the Last Jedi had. I feel like the Rise of Skywalker was lacking, at least for me. A lot of people, majorly disagree with that statement, but for me, there was not very many, punch in the gut, holy hell moments that are just like standout moments in this movie, But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. I cannot drink enough coffee this evening, ladies and gentlemen. In Final Kill 44, What do you think about the trending topic about World War III and being drafted? I am firmly opposed to a draft. This is coming from a guy who enlisted. I'm firmly opposed to a draft in a country that claims itself to be free. Unless our homeland is being occupied, unless our homeland is under grave threat, direct grave threat, even then, I am firmly against a military draft. Taking kids and churning them up, I don't believe in it. Now, if you're talking about like a mandatory service, a nationwide mandatory service, even in peacetime, that a lot of countries have, I find that idea a little intriguing. Service to one's nation, I believe is important. But when it comes to military draft for bodies, Vietnam War, nope. Call yourself a free nation. Nope. Absolutely not. All volunteer army and an all volunteer in a free nation. If you call yourself a free nation. Otherwise, it's bullshit. The topic of World War III, I don't think it's going to pop off like that, man. I don't even know how to contextualize all what's going on. If anything, I don't even know. I don't know. I think it would be a regional war with a lot of proxy attacks. I think it would be. I don't even know how to guess. Man. But it's hilarious to me, man, how even on my personal Facebook page, people that it's always super funny to me, Final Kill. The people who are so gung-ho about action never served a day in their goddamn life. It's like Facebook tough guy syndrome. It's weird. Do it, man. Put on your boots. It's eye-rolly. It's like in military circles, it's the meme of, I was going to join, but I would have kicked my drill instructor's ass. That kind of dumb shit. But yeah. Anyway, it drives me crazy, man. Anyway, I appreciate that, Final Kill. I think it's not going to be okay, but, yeah, anyway. Only time will tell. People are patient. Militias are patient. Insurgencies are patient. And it'll be very interesting where things end up over the next year, But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. Crossing our fingers, right? Crossing our toes, whatever. Doing a rain dance. Whatever superstition you partake in. I guess cross it all. Uriah Thornton, thank you so much, man. I enjoyed all the sequel movies. People act like you're betraying Star Wars if you enjoyed them as silly gooses. Feel like an outcast and need to keep opinion alone. No, not at all, man. I think, Uriah, maybe the reason I'm so lackadaisical and shrug of the shoulders with a lot of people's complaints and I don't know, the way people put down aspects of fandom or people that have a differing opinion of them is because I've lived through the prequels, and if you've lived through the prequels, you've seen this cycle before. It's all the same shit. It's history repeating itself, and I think that's probably why I don't really care what people think. If people often come on the chat and say, like, anybody that liked a so-and-so is an idiot, anybody that didn't like so and such is an idiot, this is better than that, this is better than that, and you just ignore them. Right? Because it's just silly, dumb shit. I don't know. It doesn't fit the vibe of this channel, right? And it's always people that have never experienced this channel before coming in and just trying to throw like a rock in the pond and start some ripples, right? It's silly stuff, but no, don't keep your opinion to yourself. That's what's fun about this stuff, man. That's what's fun about this stuff. No everybody's favorite, like nobody's Star Wars is the same as somebody else's Star Wars, right? Their favorite aspects of the franchise. What Star Wars means to them is ultimately different than what Star Wars means to anybody else, right? So, it's so, just ignore the old, I don't know, the old loudspeaker that constantly shouts in your ear on the internet, and try to enjoy yourself. That's what it's all about, man. Having fun conversations without being a doofus. But yeah. I will say that I enjoyed the sequel trilogy more than the prequel trilogy. I enjoyed The Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith more than The Rise of Skywalker. I thoroughly enjoyed The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. Those are my two favorite films in the sequel trilogy, but yeah. Anyway. I appreciate that, man. And Fofo? Am I pronouncing that correctly? Probably not. I'm a big dumb dummy. Ryan Johnson needs to come back, say what you want about TLJ, but at least it was inventive. Yet it had a clear vision, unlike The Rise of Skywalker. Words taken right out of my mouth, man. I said that The Rise of Skywalker made me appreciate The Last Jedi even more. And that rings true. It was, like you said, inventive, I think is the best word to describe it. It was unique. It pushed boundaries. It was inventive. It had twists and turns. It was not predictable. I can't remember who said it, but somebody said, it was a film, right? It was a film. However you want to take that. But I completely agree, Fofo. That if, as I said in my first The Rise of Skywalker video, if 86% of the audience enjoyed The Rise of Skywalker, then I'm in the minority. If 86% of the people liked The Rise of Skywalker and that's what the Star Wars they want more of, then I'm certainly in the minority. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. I would take a movie like The Last Jedi over The Rise of Skywalker any day for its inventiveness, for its uniqueness, for the concepts that it introduced. I found it to be a really interesting movie, right? But yeah. I hope, I completely agree. I hope he comes back. From what we all know, the trilogy that was announced a while ago is still in the works. Who knows what's going on? These things take time. I'm sure they're scheduling things out accordingly, spacing things out.
With the new home, does this mean we will be seeing a baby Greedo appearance sometime soon? Haha.
What's up, Samuel Custer? Thank you so much, man. Give me 1 sec to everybody who super chatted. I will absolutely get to you. I am very long-winded. I'm getting a little cold and a little sore throat. So bear with me here, folks. But yeah. Anyway, Fofo. I appreciate that, man. And Felix Shaw, once again, thank you so much for the super chat channel support. A little silent support this evening. I greatly appreciate it, Felix. And Carter Lovejoy, fans, hashtag release the Abrams cut. Me, everyone stop trying to make the Abrams cut happen. It's not going to happen. Yeah, it's I don't know really how to, I don't even know how to process that whole thing. I didn't really dive too deep into it, Carter, with everything going on in life. So there were some whatever Reddit posts or whatnot, and people are very, very gullible in this world and believe everything that they read, right? Not to say that it's not true, but like I've been doing this thing for 8.5 years. I've seen a lot of dumb shit come across my desk, and the vast majority, if not all of it, has been bunk. And then everybody like it's weird, man. It's people. We all claim ownership of this thing, right? It's a part of our lives, but at the same time, you have the thing, and that's the thing. We gotta we don't have to like the thing, but we kind of have to accept the thing that exists. I don't know where that mindset comes from. I don't know where that mindset comes from. Maybe it's a hope that there's something better out there, you know? I get that hope, I suppose, but it wouldn't go so far as to me wishing and wanting and hashtagging for a thing to come out, you know? I don't really understand that mindset, if that makes sense. Hashtag release the Abrams cut. I mean, okay. All right. Cool. I don't know, man. It's the same thing with release the Snyder cut. I don't know. I have not paid attention to any of that. I see it pop up on Twitter every once in a while. I don't know shit about shit. So, it's interesting. Anyway. Weird stuff, man. Urban Combat 1000, thank you so much, man. What's up, man? Open the blast doors. Open the blast doors. Open the blast doors. Open the, are you talking? Oh yeah, there was a Rise of Skywalker open the blast doors, wasn't there? What, now I have to minimize everything to get this. I hate let the record show that I cannot stand the new YouTube live streaming back end. Open the blast doors. Rise of Skywalker. Okay. What? Yeah. What? Oops. Where was that? Where was that? I wasn't there something with open the blast doors in the Rise of Skywalker? Wasn't there? I think there was. I'm pretty sure there was. If there wasn't, where am I remembering that from? Anyway. Urban Combat, open the blast doors. What's going on, man? I hope you had a good weekend. And I appreciate the hell out of that support. I'm trying to remember. Somebody will point it out to me when it was, where it was in the movie. I'm trying to really remember when it was said, when it happened, why it happened. Am I thinking of... You don't recall such a scene? Am I thinking of some other callback line of dialogue? Don't remember, Nathan. It was a clip in the hangar raid when they landed to rescue Chewie. One of the stormtroopers said, close the blast doors. Okay, close the blast doors. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay. Everything old is new again. All right. Anyway. Robert Putney, thank you so much. It's clear there was no plan for this trilogy. Each film just undid the previous one. I probably would have liked it more if they had stuck to a plan. Yeah, you know, I've often wondered what the plan was. I don't like, as has been said before, The Rise of Skywalker didn't feel like a continuation. It felt like a left turn into the woods. Completely different direction. It did not feel like a sequel to me. In terms of plan, I'd be very surprised if there wasn't a plan. And then you can tweak the plan, right, with every subsequent film. I don't see how The Last Jedi undid The Force Awakens, and I don't really see how The Rise of Skywalker undid a lot of stuff in The Last Jedi. I feel like in certain aspects it was a continuation, but in terms of an overall narrative, it wasn't. Does that make sense? You know, certain things happen in the Rise of Skywalker that don't. They, I guess, add more context, and that's not to say that the context is something that I liked, but it didn't feel like a flat out like undoing, if that makes sense. I would be willing to bet that there was some plan, right? Some plan. But The Rise of Skywalker just felt like such a mess to me that it makes me question that, right? I don't know. It's weird. I'm actually kind of excited to get it on Blu-ray when it comes out, but we'll see. I want to watch it at home with a notepad. That's what I did with The Force Awakens, Rogue One, and The Last Jedi. I saw them all with my buddies. And even... Oh, I saw Solo once. Because, okay, so The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and Rogue One. I saw in the theater with all my friends for the first time. And then the second time, I actually went to a little local, like, independent film theater thing. 2 screens, very small. They have pizza and beer. And I brought a notepad with me on those second viewings. I haven't been able to do that with this. I wasn't able to do that with Solo just because, you know, we had a kid and it's very, very difficult to get out to the movies when you have a kid, especially to see something that you've already seen before. And I'm really looking forward to watching this at home with an old notepad and a bowl of homemade popcorn on the stove. But anyway, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I'm very curious. The whole plan thing, it had to be something, right? Or maybe not. I don't know. And Joe G. Golly, sorry about the sniffles, guys. Joe G says most of The Last Jedi info should have been the crawl. They should have let JJ at least make the overall arc for the trilogy. Ryan did best he could. JJ too with the Rise of Skywalker. I found most of the things in The Last Jedi to be at least interesting. I don't know about the crawl. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I'm trying to think how that would have all played out. What, like Luke's struggle? I like seeing Luke struggle. That's one of my favorite aspects of this entire trilogy. I think Adam Driver is the best actor we've had in any Star Wars film, but I think Mark Hamill's performance is the best performance we've had in a Star Wars film in The Last Jedi, right? I don't know. I disagree, man. I think the relationship that blossomed between Rey and Kylo was so interesting in the movie. Their connection, their Force connection. They learn more about one another. They're very standoffish at first, but then they become to empathize and sympathize with one another. That's something that I would love to see on screen, and I wouldn't want that in a crawl. I don't know. I don't know. And the thing is, like, I like the idea, Joe, of multiple directors and multiple people coming in to work on a Star Wars project, right? That's how the original trilogy was. You had Irvin Kershner and Richard and Marquand. You know, they made Empire and they made Return of the Jedi. And all 3 films had a different but similar feel. And from day one of this trilogy being announced, I said I liked that idea. I still like that idea. I would have honestly rather had. I would have rather seen what Rian Johnson had in store for episode 9, to see where and there's no question on my mind that he's thought about, and maybe he didn't write out a full screenplay or whatnot, but he thought about where he would have taken the story, and I think maybe it would have been a little more cohesive if that were the case, and I would have loved to at least known where that project would have gone, right? I'm fine with that not being the case, but I will have an endless fascination and curiosity of where that would have gone, right? But and who's to say they didn't stick with the plan, right? Who's to say this wasn't the outcome that that Abrams wanted to go through with since day one? But I don't know. Anyway, I appreciate that, Joe. And Lewis Collin, like the TV series, I like it when it's about the Rebel/Empire spaceship soldiers and a little wisdom and guidance, but I hate when it goes all magic. Lewis, I'm kind of with you there. I'm kind of with you there. Like, my favorite Star Wars is obviously A New Hope, right? And that my favorite Star Wars is also the original trilogy. When I think of Star Wars, I don't necessarily think of Jedi and Sith and lightsabers and the Force. I think when I think of Star Wars, I think of that rebel versus empire, that struggle against oppression. I think of bounty hunters and smugglers and blasters and spaceships and that kind of stuff. So we're kind of seeing eye to eye there. When it becomes like so, well, my tweet that I just tweeted out like, what, 2 hours ago or so, I talked about how I like the Force being subtle. I like the Force being a little more hippy-dippy and subdued, less video game and more of a silent retreat, right? And I said the more over-the-top and powerful the Force powers are, the more the... Oh, one sec.
Clone War arc you were recommended? I don't remember seeing Anakin and Ashoka's last words. What are your thoughts on the Clone Wars? Are you excited as much as Rots?
Two Black Cats, thank you so much. Two Black Cat 5s. Thank you so much, man. Give me one sec. So, Lewis, I kind of see eye to eye with you there. I like the wisdom of the Force. I like the guidance of the Force. But when things get so over the top, and it almost to where it almost feels like a generic, I don't know, superpower thing you'd see in in any other franchise, right? It kind of loses, the Force kind of loses its charm to me, if that makes sense. When I think of the Force, I think of, Yoda and Empire. It's very like 70s hashhead mysticism, right? And I like it that way. I could have never had any kind of like Force jump or super duper, I don't know, abilities in any of these movies, and I would be completely fine with it if it was just some kind of like spiritual awakening thing, right? But yeah. Anyway, we see eye to eye, I think, Lewis, and I appreciate that, man. And Bozen Ticket, thank you so much, man. Have you seen any Guillermo del Toro films? Yes. Let me look at the catalog, and I will tell you. Guillermo del Toro. Okay, so I have not seen many. Let me just say that. In the same way that I haven't seen many movies recently whatsoever. Oh my goodness. Bozen Ticket. There's a long list here that I've never seen. Never saw Shape of Water. Okay, so he's a writer. I'm gonna go to his director credits. I've seen Pan's Labyrinth and I saw bits and pieces of Pacific Rim on a flight. Dude, I'm looking at his director's credits, and I think the only one that I've seen... Oh, Blade 2. He did Blade 2? Interesting. I know I saw that for sure. I don't remember it. But I remember seeing it in the theater, because my buddy is, like, huge into, like, vampire and that kind of shit. So I honestly think that the only movie other than, like, Blade 2 that I've seen from start to finish was Pacific Rim of his. Interesting. I would have guessed I would have seen more, but no. What about writing credits? Never saw Shape of Water. So no, I haven't really seen... I've seen maybe two. I've seen two, I think, from start to finish. I'm not going to count... I'm not going to count Pacific Rim because I was on a flight and I don't really remember paying much attention to it. Interesting. I need to catch up, I suppose. Oh, he's making a Pinocchio movie? Is that going to be animated? A darker version. Of course. A darker version of the classic children's fairy tale of a wooden puppet that transforms into a real... Didn't Red Letter Media have a skit like years ago about turning every kid's story into some like dark version? Anyway. I need to catch up, I suppose. But I appreciate that, Bozen Tika. And A3 answers the question. A3 says, no, I did not. The question of the stream, did you like The Rise of Skywalker? A3 says, no, I did not. Yeah, man, just to reiterate my points, or my broad brush strokes here, I am pretty 50-50 on it. And that might mean that I give the movie a 5 or 6 out of 10. I am pretty 50-50 split. That might change in the future when I watch it more. But I am still pretty 50-50 on it. Did I like it? Oh man, that's tough to say. I liked a lot of aspects of it, but oh boy, I did not like a lot of it, right? I don't know. But I appreciate that A3. I gotta see it again. I don't know. Fee, thank you so much, man. Rise of Skywalker is actually the best of the three, in my opinion. You're not alone in that opinion, for sure. I've seen a lot of people state that opinion, you know. That's what's kind of fun about all three of the sequel trilogy movies definitely feel kind of in the same way, I suppose, that the original trilogy felt in tone. My favorite of the sequel trilogy, Fee, is The Last Jedi, just for being unique and inventive. I liked a lot of the concepts that the movie introduced, right?
I don't see the point
but,
in
one
Snoke
sec.
if Palpatine was there the whole time. I'd prefer it had been Palpatine the entire trilogy in the shadows and have it been hinted throughout the trilogy.
Nathan Pelka, thank you so much, man. Give me 1 sec, or probably a few minutes here. I'm long-winded and behind, but I appreciate that, man. Yeah, Fee, the Rise of Skywalker is actually my least favorite in the sequel trilogy. For me, my list goes The Last Jedi, The Force Awakens, and The Rise of Skywalker. That's kind of where my list goes, my ranking, I suppose. But anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Samuel Custer with the new home. Does this mean we will be seeing a baby Greedo appearance sometime soon? Haha. You know, yeah, for those of you who don't know, we closed on our new house about a month ago, almost a month ago. It's been a little chaotic trying to get everything situated, especially when you add an almost 2-year-old into the mix. There's not much time to do things to the house, chasing her around, because, you know, I'm either doing freelance projects or working on channel stuff, and at the same time I'm running around with her, and she naps for at the most 2 hours, so that's some time that I have to work on stuff. I have to either say, okay, I'm going to unbox stuff, I'm going to work on house stuff, or I'm going to work on freelance stuff or channel stuff. And it's just like, the one thing that I don't stress, I'm not a stressor, I don't have anxiety, but the one thing that I do stress about from time to time is having enough time and what I need to do with the little amount of time that I have. Why did I go down that road? I don't know. But Samuel, I don't know if I'll do, you know, maybe when she's older, maybe when my daughter's older and understands the concept of YouTube and all that stuff, and if she wants to willingly participate and wants to have fun with it and participate in like some kind of skit or something like that with me, I would love to do that. But at the moment, I don't have much of a desire to like put her in front, especially, you know, I would want her to wear a helmet or something like that. Continue this fun like mystery gimmick that I have, right? And for one, if I'm not going to show my face, I'm not, you know, she's not going to show her face. I'm not going to be one of those people. And I don't want to use my kid as like a prop, right? In video, in a video against her will. That shit always creeps me out. So, you know, in the future, maybe, if she would want to be in a video, which I'm sure she would, yes. But at the moment, I don't have any plans for her to appear. I did 2 years ago or so, I did like say that I was going to start a video series called Daddy Darth. And I loved the idea. I even wrote out a few video ideas for Daddy Darth series. And I quickly realized when my daughter was born that there was no way I could get her to sit still and participate in any of these video ideas that I had. And they would be a hell of a lot harder to shoot than I originally thought too. So the idea, while I really liked it, it kind of fizzled out with practicality, you know. But yeah, if that makes sense. Anyway, Samuel, I appreciate the support this evening. I'll never say never. But I'm sure she'll want to participate when she understands the concept of the channel and what Daddy does, right? But yeah, Sam, I appreciate that, man. Operation Spider. Thank you so much, man. Who should play Revan, not Keanu Reeves, please? No one, because I don't want Revan to be in any movie or show. I want new characters. That being said, if we did have old Revan in a movie, let's just say movie. That's really tough. Could I? I'm gonna say. Oh man, that's tough. Operation Spider. I'm gonna say. Oh man, I have two actors that I would love to see in Star Wars projects, and I'm gonna say Cillian Murphy. I think he would be awesome in a Star Wars movie, and maybe he would fit that role well. And for no other reason than I want him to be in a Star Wars movie, I'm going to say Sam Rockwell. I think those are two actors that I would love to see in a Star Wars project, and maybe not in that role, maybe in a different role, preferably in a different role. But I think those two actors are so versatile that that they would bring something fun to the role for sure. But I can't really think of anybody else that I would pick for that. Maybe Cillian Murphy over Sam Rockwell for that one, but I think that's just, I'm biased because I want both of them in a movie. so yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Spider. Let me take a quick sip of the old water here. Oh man, it's not a good time to start getting a cold and get the sickies on a live stream, right? Rich W3. Have you seen the SpaceX Dragon launch simulation? No. Let's see. SpaceX Dragon launch simulator. Watch what SpaceX's first ever astronaut launch will look like. Oh, dude, I have not heard about this. When was this released? January 2nd. Okay. Oh, it's all CG. Okay. I started this video. I'm gonna wait to watch it until after this stream. But Rich, you know, this is right up my alley. I'm gonna check this out after the stream for sure. It's my goal sometime soon to get my daughter down to Kennedy Space Center and see a launch
Hello again,
at some point. Oh, one sec.
Episode 9 felt more like an ending than Episode 6 in my opinion. Ray's theme subtly contains the Emperor's theme. Terry's videos on highlighting this. John Williams is a genius.
Oh, interesting. Star Wars story. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Give me one sec. I'm pretty long-winded tonight. But Rich, I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. I have it sitting up here, waiting for me to watch it after the stream. I'll check it out for sure. In Urban Combat 1000, once again, thank you so much. No, I'm just saying it because you have the Stormtrooper helmet, Episode 4, when they were chasing Han and Chewie. I love when they say, open the blast doors. Open the blast doors. Open the blast doors. I love it as well. It's funny, Urban. It's funny, Urban, that there's so many... I talked about this in the book. How there's so many lines of dialogue, but not even lines of dialogue, like sound effects, right? That are so memorable, especially from the movies that you grew up with. And these sound effects, or lines of dialogue even, don't really affect much in terms of story, but they broaden the world, right? They broaden the universe in the world that you're observing. And the example that I give, there's two examples that I give in the book, is a mouse droid, right? I can hear what a mouse droid sounds like right now in my head. And the other example is the sound of the droid detector when C-3PO and R2 come into the cantina in Mos Eisley. There's so many sounds and lines of dialogue and stuff like that when in Star Wars movies that one sec, that are so memorable, and you don't know why, right? One second, I'm texting my wife back. Okay, cool. There we go. I guess the baby monitor is twisted. I gotta turn it when I'm done streaming. My daughter's room is like right next door to my room, so. But yeah, Urban Combat, I appreciate that, man. The old Stormtrooper helmet. You might not know this, but I have a full set of armor as well, and I have a few video ideas written out and scripts written out utilizing that armor. It's just a matter of me finding the time to put that stuff on, and it's putting the whole suit of armor on. You know, it's not as easy as you might think. I can put it on myself, but there's some straps in the back and over the shoulders that, you know, when it comes time to snap those, you're so encumbered by the restrictive movement of your armor that you can't really reach back there without, you know, really straining yourself, and it just helps so much to have somebody help buckle you in. So it's all about having find the time to have somebody snap me in, and my wife can help me out at night. So I'm gonna have to probably shoot some of these things at night, which is not ideal for lighting, but that's how it goes. Anyway, I appreciate that, Urban. And Tom Ferrara, good to see you, man. What's your best Jar Jar impression?
Okay, day. You also said people gonna die? Oh no!
That's not too bad, right? That's not too bad. Is that a what's some lines of dialogue that I could say in Jar Jar's voice? All right, that's about all I'm going to say, Tom. I do you know this, but I have a Jar Jar mask. I have a Jar Jar mask, and I've utilized it a little bit in videos before, but it's been years, I think.
Excuse.
Sorry, guys. The cold is not helping.
Excuse me.
That's not good. But yeah, I need to bring that Jar Jar mask back and use it as a recurring character to like drive points home. Does that make sense? I might start using Jar Jar as a character. But anyway, I appreciate that, Tom. And Viral Edge. I'm very excited to sit down and watch 7, 8, and 9 just to watch it as a solid trilogy and see how it feels all in one. I've enjoyed all the movies personally. Yeah, there's no question in my mind that when it becomes available for home viewing, I'll do the same thing. Watch it as kind of one cohesive story on my couch. That might change the way not only me, but a lot of people view the entire sequel trilogy. We've all had the luxury of doing that with the other trilogies for, decades. So it'll be nice to be able to digest the newer films at your own pace, maybe even back to back, and in your own way, right? As we've done for decades with the other trilogies. So it'll be interesting to see how over time this trilogy gets viewed, right? In the same way that it's been interesting to see how the prequel trilogy has been viewed. I'm a broken record at this point, Viral Edge, but when I started this channel back in 2011, it was very, very difficult to find positive prequel comments down in the comment section of my video. All my videos. Very difficult. And then over the years, that's a big shift. That shift has changed. And I equate that to, a younger generation growing up and now having a voice on the internet and defending what they love. And I would be willing to bet that the sequel trilogy will kind of follow that same trend. But anyway, I'll definitely be getting it. The only modern Star Wars that I don't own a physical copy of is Solo. I own a digital copy of it. It's actually the only Star Wars movie that I don't own on some kind of physical media. So I'm sure eventually I'll get it, but there's some things that I need to get for the house before I do that. But anyway, I appreciate that, man. And 2 Black Cat 5. I appreciate that channel support this evening. 2 Black Cat 5 says, have you finished the Clone Wars arc you were recommended? I don't remember seeing Anakin and Ahsoka's last words. What are your thoughts on the Clone Wars? Are you excited as much as Rise of Skywalker? To answer the last part of your question, no, I'm not excited. I am excited for it, but I'm not as excited for the Clone Wars as I was with the Rise of Skywalker. Oh, you said Revenge of the Sith. Did you mean the Rise of Skywalker? Maybe you meant the Rise of Skywalker. To me, that makes. I'm gonna play it with the Rise of Skywalker. I've always said that I don't think I will ever be more excited for a Star Wars project than a movie. Right? I'll never be more excited for a TV show than I am with a movie, because for me, Star Wars has always been a big movie going experience, and I can't imagine being more excited for a Star Wars project than a Star Wars movie, if that makes sense. So no, but I am excited. And when it comes to Clone Wars 2 Black Cat 5s, the Clone Wars has kind of broadened my idea of what Star Wars is. It's been a fun viewing experience because I've been able to dive into a show that has already existed, that people have already digested, and I'm coming at it from a new perspective almost. And that new perspective has made me appreciate the prequels and the lore of kind of the prequel era, that universe, that time frame. And the Clone Wars, way better than the prequels in my opinion, have done a great job of kind of setting the stage and showing the more intricate details of, factions, the Confederacy, the politics of the entire situation, and how it all meshes and conflicts with one another. I really enjoy it. So I have not finished season 6. I think I have like 5 or 6 episodes left until I finish season 5, and then I'm on to season 6. So my goal within the next month until the new season comes out is to finish that up and watch the remaining episodes that I need to knock out. I'm not going to do individual episode videos. I don't have that in me right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to watch the arcs as a whole. The arcs, most of them are like 3 or 4 episodes, I think. I'm going to watch those arcs and then make videos on the individual arcs, So, but yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm definitely excited for sure. But I appreciate that, man. And yeah, it'll be here before we know it, right? And Oscar Rodriguez would have loved to see that Spartacus take on the Star Wars name. Yeah, no joke. I thought about that when I was in the theater, Oscar. It is one of those things that I in my head, I thought it would have been awesome to have a I'm Spartacus moment, like I'm Skywalker, that kind of thing. Like not verbatim, not exactly that, but that kind of feel as well, right? I would have loved to have seen that as well. It would have been pretty powerful, right? To stand up to this ultimate evil under the banner of like a unified, maybe name isn't the correct way to put it, but a unified name. I think that would have been great, when did I talk about that, Oscar? It was in some video 6 or 7 months ago, right? Leading up to the movie, but maybe even longer than that. Anyway, I'm Skywalker. I'm Skywalker. I'm Skywalker. If you guys haven't seen Spartacus, watch it. It's a movie that I grew up watching. It's Stanley Kubrick. I think I first saw it when I was like in elementary school, and then I got the two VHS box set, and I watched it so much as a kid, man. I watched that movie so much as a kid. I loved it. I haven't seen it in years. I probably haven't seen it in... I probably haven't sat down and watched Spartacus from start to finish in 20 years. I'm 33 now. I probably haven't watched it from start to finish since I was 13. I need to for sure. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Oscar. And Jastardable, did I say that correctly? Jastardable. I'm gonna say Jastardable. Yeah. Jastardable says, "Hey Greedo, got your book for Christmas? Fuck, it's awesome as hell. My first book written in English. Oh wow, nice. Greetings from Finland. Keep the flag. Hi. Well, I appreciate that, man. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, I did release a dumb little book. It's 200 pages of personal stories and a lot of Star Wars and whatnot. And Jastardable calls it, fuck, it's awesome as hell. Well, I appreciate the kind words, man. Yeah, dude. Well, first of all, thank you so much for picking it up. I'm glad you really enjoy it. I've been blown away by the reception. I checked, let's see what it is. I actually checked the Amazon listing. I'll throw a link to it for anybody that might be interested. Read the description before you pick it up, but here's a link to it in the chat. I've been blown away by the reception. I checked the ratings and the reviews, and the reception has been so humbling. It completely blows my mind, man, that people dig it. So, Jastable, thank you so much for the kind words. I'm glad you enjoy it, man. Sorry about the mess, and yeah, thanks again, dude. Merry Christmas. Merry belated Christmas to you. And Can't Fake the Funk DJ, sup, Greed. What did you think of The Lighthouse? We didn't watch it. When was that Friday night? That was Friday day, the stream Friday, right? What did we do on Friday? We ended up watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, because for whatever reason I couldn't get the Google Play app to load up on my smart TV. I can't get Google Play. Google Play isn't on there, and Disney Plus isn't on there. And our Roku was in our bedroom, and I just didn't move it. So what we ended up doing was watching like 2 or 3 episodes of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is awesome. It's a great show. We're on season 3. Fantastic show. But we will probably end up watching The Lighthouse. Well, my wife goes out of town this weekend, so probably when she gets back. There's a list of movies that we want to watch. The Lighthouse is one of them. Knives Out is one of them. I don't think that's available yet anywhere, but when it is, we're gonna watch it immediately. And also Ad Astra is up there too. So those 3 are kind of at the tip top of our list that we need to get around to watching. So, yeah. And as soon as we watch it, I'm gonna let everybody know what I thought. I'm very excited to. I remember watching the trailer when the trailer first came out a long time ago, and it just looked like something that was really intriguing, right up my alley, you know. But I appreciate that, man. All right. And Greg C. Fisher's brother said Carrie was supposed to be the Skywalker in The Rise of Skywalker, but she died. Perhaps this is why they had to course correct. Interesting. I have not heard that, Greg C. Interesting. I guess that would make sense. I don't know how that would play out. I mean, it's one of those things that, you know, we'll never know what could have been if that were the case. I don't really. I would have to see how that would how that would play out. That would be very interesting to me. I do like the idea though of, and it kind of is like this, where Skywalker isn't necessarily a name by blood anymore. It's almost like that. How do I put it? It's almost like not necessarily a title, but almost like a creed, right? At least that's the way I viewed it. I'm gonna have to look that up, Greg. Let's see. Okay. Her brother Todd reflect. Okay, so let's see. Okay, I have Todd Fisher was shrugging off the pressure. Todd. All right, I'm gonna. Okay, so there's a little interview here. I'm gonna read this after the stream, Greg. But interesting. All right, I have it pulled up. So I have this and the SpaceX simulator that I need to watch and read. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Greg. You have piqued my interest for sure. And Nathan Pelka, I don't see the point if Snoke is wait. I don't see the point in Snoke if Palpatine was there the whole time. I'd prefer it had been Palpatine the entire trilogy in the shadows and have it been hinted throughout the trilogy. That would have been, yeah, well, in a way, I agree. A little, there's something out there pulling the strings in the shadows. What could it be? A little mystery there, a little hinting at something, keeping the audience on its toes, right? I agree in that sense. I think it would have been interesting. It felt very just kind of forced and ham-fisted the way it was done, right? But for me, Nathan, just the overall concept, the idea of Palpatine coming back, never sat well with me. I didn't like the way it was executed. It felt very goofy and fan fiction-y and not necessary. You know, it felt very unimaginative to me. So even if he was there, even if it was hinted at throughout this trilogy, and we knew, you know, in some way it was hinted at, I still think I would have the same kind of feeling. What? Why? Shouldn't this be the tale of a new threat, a new something, you know? Why? I've always adamantly been against like continuously bringing and back and resurrecting and mulching over the same shit over and over again, and this kind of was like the ultimate version of that, right? So, I liked Snoke in The Force Awakens. I liked Snoke in the Last Jedi. Definitely didn't like Snoke in The Rise of Skywalker in the old vat of clone goo. In the vat of Snoke goo. but yeah. Anyway, what could have been, I guess, Nathan. What could have been. But I appreciate that generous super chat channel support this evening, man. And Oscar Rodriguez, whatever Lucasfilm and Disney do next, I hope it's not the Old Republic. I hope the next saga is set in the distant future, far, far away. Yeah, I don't want to know. How do I put this? It's kind of interesting to me, Oscar. Whenever there's like a, how do I put this? People's mind goes to what they know, right? So what do you want a TV show about? I don't know. The Old Republic. Well, I don't know. Boba Fett. Well, I don't know. Obi-Wan Kenobi. People's minds go to, oftentimes, this is a broad brushstroke, but oftentimes goes to what they already know. They want to see a movie about what they already know, and it's kind of weird to me. I don't want it to be associated with anything that we've seen. I want it to be so out of left field that you know, we are completely caught off guard in a new situation, not knowing any parties involved, right? That's what my biggest hope is. Taking Star Wars in a direction that, while it's still fun and fast-paced and interesting, takes us down new roads, right? And while maybe the Old Republic would be interesting, I would love to see some kind of political thriller. Would be fun to me. I ultimately want something so drastically different that it's not associated with any time frame that we're already familiar with, right? But yeah, I think we see eye to eye on that, Oscar. But I appreciate that, man. And Samuel Custer, how did you feel about Babu Frick? I liked him.
Hey,
Oh, one sec.
I enjoyed TFA, not a big fan of TLJ, and enjoyed Tross, but am not the biggest fan of its shot style being more close/tight shots rather than more long shots from the originals. What do you think? Wish you the best.
Ryomi, did I pronounce that correctly? Probably not. I'm a big dumb idiot. Ryomi 04. Sorry, guys. I'm getting a cold, and talking on live stream for an hour is not helping the old throat. Ryomi, thank you so much, man. Give me one sec. I'm a little long-winded here. And I got a bunch of super chats that I need to catch up on because of my long-windedness. But Samuel Custer, I liked Babu Frick. I thought he fit the mold. He fit I liked the design of him. I liked his voice. I liked the character. I thought he definitely fit in this weird world of Star Wars, right? I don't know. I like the concept of him. This like, yeah, I really have nothing negative to say about the character. I thought he was a fun addition, you know. One that I didn't want to see more of, but he was just one of those characters that, you know, as oftentimes is the case with Star Wars, that pops up to do a thing. He's memorable, and then the story leaves him behind, right? But I liked him as a character. It was a little comic relief there, a little comic cuteness, I suppose, could be a good phrase to describe it. But I definitely liked him as a character, for sure. But yeah, I appreciate that, Sam. And Carter Lovejoy, Halloween 2020, you as the Mandalorian, Baby Greedo as Baby Yoda. Yeah, I don't know what we'll do. My daughter is... me and my daughter, you know, we have conversations now, which the three of us, my wife, my daughter, and me, we all have conversations now. It's mind-blowing. And the topic of Halloween came up. I asked her if she remembered what she dressed up for on Halloween, and she said Minnie Mouse. I was like, wow, okay. I was actually kind of surprised that she remembered that, even though that wasn't that long ago. But she remembered it. And then I asked her what she wanted to dress up as next year. And you know what she said? She said an avocado. Which, that's like her favorite food. She loves guacamole. You ask her what she wants for dinner, she says guacamole chips. It's hilarious, man. She has such an extensive vocabulary. She repeats everything. You got to be careful. It's awesome. It's crazy. So, maybe the Mandalorian, but I doubt it, Carter. Next year, she's going to be, by the time Halloween rolls around next year, she'll be 2 years and in May, June, July, August, September, October. 2 years and 7 months, 8 months or so. And I think she's going to be able to decide for herself what she wants to dress up as for Halloween. So, which will be fun, right? Which will be fun. So I doubt the Mandalorian is going to be up there on her list of what she wants to dress up as, but but I appreciate that, man. I dig the idea for sure. And Tom Ferrara, where's Mommy Greedo, your wife? She is currently downstairs. She just put my daughter down to bed about 30 minutes ago. She's probably downstairs watching the Golden Globes with a glass of wine. Yeah, she went and got her first tattoo today. Her mom, for those of you who have been to the around the channel for a while, she passed away about a year ago. Her mom did. So she got something in her mom's, whenever her mom would sign or give like Christmas cards or anything, she would always sign it like a specific little symbol, and she got that symbol on her. It's kind of pretty moving, but so she's probably putting lotion on her new tattoo right now. But yeah, Tom, I appreciate that, man. I need to have her on a stream sometime, huh? Maybe one day. And Oscar Rodriguez, might I suggest Sabine's helmet for your daughter? Yeah, that would be a good one. She knows who Chewbacca is, so she would probably throw on a Chewbacca mask. She's not one for hats. We got her a beanie. She doesn't really like hats. I think it's probably just a new thing, you know. You gotta get used. She has to get used to it. Sabine's not a bad idea though, for a helmet for her if she ever wants to do this channel thing, you know. Yeah, Sabine could be good. I don't, if I'm not gonna show my face, she's not gonna show her face, right? I'm not gonna do that to her. But the idea of like putting on some Princess Leia hair buns would be kind of cute, right? But, yeah, I'll keep that one in mind, Oscar. And Vince Wynn, sriracha, please, or get the red chicken bottle crap out of here. Wait, what? Is that in reference to something? Vince? I like sriracha. You know what I like? sriracha on, Vince. My wife makes this awesome chicken and yellow rice recipe. Gets chicken thighs, cooks them in a thing of yellow rice on the stove for like 2 hours. It is so damn good, and I love sriracha poured all over that. I like very spicy food. Not to say that sriracha is extremely spicy, but I like spice in my food, and sometimes I'll just grab like a Ritz cracker and pour some sriracha on it, or some daddle pepper sauce or something like that, and eat it. So I don't know if that's in reference to something, Vince, but I'm a sriracha fan. But I appreciate that, man. And Star Wars story. Hello again, my friend. Episode 9 felt more like an ending than Episode 6, in my opinion. Ray's theme subtly contains the Emperor's theme. There's videos on YouTube highlighting this. John Williams is a genius. I had not heard that before. Ray's theme subtly contains the Emperor's theme. I wonder if that's... I'm assuming that's intentional, right? I would assume that a lot of that... I mean, John Williams, as you said, is a genius, and a lot of his themes run together in a good way, in kind of interesting thematic way. I'm going to have to check out those videos. And I'm very curious if a lot of Star Wars themes, since it is similar, it's the same composer, and I'm wondering if you could play that game with a lot of John Williams themes, right? A lot of them might have the same notes, the same beats, the same... I don't know. I'm gonna look that up. I've never heard that before. Star Wars story. Speaking of John Williams, one of my favorite John Williams theme, and the reason that I'm talking about it right now is the Superman theme. I love the John Williams Superman theme, and one of the biggest modern reasons that I love it is because my daughter loves it too. I'll tell Alexa to play the Superman theme, and she'll start playing the Superman theme, and then I will like hold my daughter above my head and fly around. She'll put her arms out in front of her and fly like Superman. It's funny. And I listen to that song a couple times a day and do that with her. And I sit there and I'm like, man, out of all John Williams themes that kind of highlight a character, the Superman theme just is perfect for the character of Superman. He knocks it out of the park, man. But anyway, Star Wars story. Rey theme, Emperor theme. Okay, I have that pulled up. So now I have a few things to check out after this stream. Interesting stuff. But I appreciate you bringing that to my attention, man. All right. Oh, sorry, man. No idea. My comment came with the narrator. No worries. I changed that a long time ago. Star Wars story that, right when I believe it was Solo came out, I changed up the robot narrator for super chats to a certain like dollar amount, just because when I was streaming for Solo, when that movie first came out, I couldn't get a word in because they were coming so fast, so I had to change it, and I've never changed it back to make it so the robot reads it, and I probably won't change it back, but maybe I'll change it in the other direction. Anyway, no worries, man. And Vince Wynn, anything you like about Trek more than Wars? Oh yeah, definitely. I have always been all about astronomy, space exploration. You know, I have an Apollo poster hanging on my wall right now. I have a print of the solar system hanging on my office wall right now, and the print of the solar system is the configuration of the solar system on the day that my daughter was born. It's like a top-down solar system chart of the way all the planets were configured on the day she was born. So, what I'm saying is Star Trek attacks my head. It also attacks my heart, but I love Trek's optimism, specifically the Next Generation. The Next Generation is perhaps one of my favorite science fiction things of all time. Maybe my favorite science fiction thing of all time. Star Trek has such an optimism, a hope for the future of humanity, an existence of exploration, an existence of, a thirst for knowledge. That's what I love about Star Trek. That's what I like more about Star Trek than Wars. They're very different, but in terms of kind of the adventure for the sake of adventure and the propelling humanity into new frontiers and bringing new knowledge to our species, Trek is where it's at for me. Not necessarily the new Treks, as fun as they are, but Next Generation Man is where it's at for me. But I love it through and through, Vince. Picard is my captain. If I could have any fictional, science fiction character be my leader, there is no question in my mind it would be old Captain Picard. But yeah, anyway, Star Wars story. You shouldn't text and fly, man. Not cool. It's all good. There's no other traffic here. I'm inbound all by myself to the old Andromeda galaxy. It's on autopilot. My hand on the steering wheel is not necessary. It's for effect. I'm not stick shifting. There's nothing to stick shift when you're in light speed. But I appreciate that, man. We're all safe. We're safe here. And Tom Ferrara, you can say,
Misabi, every voice. Oh, Misabi, every voice you've ever heard. It used to had.
Blah, let me shake that off real quick. Let me shake that off real quick. Let me delete that clip. But I appreciate that, Tom. And Star Wars story, if not John Williams, who would you get to compose? Ooh,
TFA was like drinking imported beer from Germany. TLJ was like drinking that IPA that you actually kinda like.
IPA.
And TOS is like light beer that he'll drink because it's beer. How I rate them with beer.
Oh, Andrew, I dig that. I dig that a lot. Andrew, thank you so much, man. Give me 1 sec. I'm pretty long-winded here. Actually, in fact, let me run to the restroom real quick, guys. Let me put the old BRB sign up. And I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick. Give me like literally 2 minutes. I'm going to turn up the music, and I will be back in lickety split. Do people still say that? Nope, they don't say that, Greedo. Shut up. I'll be right back. All right, cool. Let's get back to the old Lightspeed Lounge. Appreciate the patience there, guys. Man, you can't pee. You lose like 80 viewers. It's hilarious. Nice. All right, I appreciate the patience there, guys. So let's see. I'm going to have to hop off here. I will get to all the super chats. So if you were thinking of super chatting and supporting the channel from here on out, please hold off. I know that sounds weird, but I got my alarm set for 4 in the morning, man. And I'm going to hop up early to make some videos. But I appreciate that, guys. All right, so I am back. Where was I? Okay, Star Wars story. If not John Williams, who would you get to compose? That is very tough. Maybe what's his name? What's his name? Somebody actually brought it up in the chat earlier. Oh my god, what's his name? Oh my god, what's his name? Oh, Hans Zimmer. Oh, Danny Elfman would be great too. Oh, interesting. Probably my number one choice would be Hans Zimmer, just because it kind of seems like a pretty it would be different, but at the same time kind of familiar. Very, very grand themes, right? I think Hans Zimmer would definitely fit the mold for when we think of Star Wars music. I think it would feel different but familiar, right? So, probably Hans Zimmer. If not John Williams, I'd probably go with Hans Zimmer. That being said, let me see. No, yeah, I'm gonna say Hans Zimmer. If I had to pick one other person to score a Star Wars movie, Star Wars story, it would be Hans Zimmer. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. That was 30 minutes ago. Good gracious. I apologize for being so long-winded. And Ilmar, thank you so much, man. My take on The Rise of Skywalker is that at every decision point, the writers went, what would a preteen fanfic writer do here, ? And went with that. Well, it kind of echoes what I said in my first video, is that a lot of the ideas to me, it felt like you put your hand into a bag of, Star Wars fan fiction and you pulled something out. There were a lot of ideas that felt very underwhelming, felt very uninventive, felt very just kind of, as you put it, preteen fanfic writer. That's not to say that there aren't awesome preteen fanfic stuff out there, but you go to like a Star Wars fanfiction subreddit maybe, and you pull some stuff out of the hat and you throw it on the wall and see what sticks. So you're kind of echoing some of the same sentiments that I had and still have, for sure. Very uninventive, very predictable is a good way to put it, right? Predictable. Wouldn't it be cool if Palpatine was back? Okay. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Rudy Rella, sad they wasted Boyega's talent, missed opportunity. I kind of, man, how do I put this? There were definitely a lot of characters, right, Rudy, in The Rise of Skywalker. Were there too many? Were things too stretched and pulled apart? I would say maybe. I would say yeah. Missed opportunity. A certain part of me agrees with you in a way, but another part of me says you need to focus on what you need to focus on. The most important thing to focus on in this film was Rey and Kylo, and I think the movie did a good job of focusing on them as much as it did. Maybe things could have been condensed. Maybe characters could have been eliminated. Maybe Finn and Poe and the remaining crew could have had a more concise togetherness where we saw them, I guess, Boyega's talent, as you put it, come through. If you guys haven't seen Attack the Block, see it, it's fun. But missed opportunity, there's a lot of missed opportunities for this movie. And maybe Finn and Boyega not being more front and center is actually kind of low on my list of missed opportunities. But But yeah, anyway, I appreciate that, Rudy. And TechoTube, thank you so much. Are you Star Wars Theory, Lore Master, Star Wars Comics, Star Wars Reading Club, Bessie working together on YouTube, or ever thought of making a video with them? I'm not much of a collaborator, and that's not to say that I wouldn't. It's just because the way I do things and the lack of time that I have doesn't really permit a lot of collaboration videos. I've never talked to really any of them other than Lore Master on Twitter from time to time, and that's not to say direct communication or anything. That's just tweets interacting. I've met Star Wars Theory. He was a super nice guy. I met him out in where was that? San Francisco for the first Battlefront little event back in 2015. He was a nice guy. But no, I've never really done collaborations. I've done collaborations with Dash Star. I've done collaborations with Star Wars Explained. Both of those, Alex and Molly, super nice people. Dash Star, super nice guy. People give him too much shit. He's a really nice guy, man. And that's really the only other collaborations I've ever done, other than having Battlefront Updates Mr. Elliott on a live stream a while ago. So if the opportunity ever came up, if I was ever able to swing the time, I would love to do it. But at the moment, it's just it's difficult. I do things very different, right? But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Tyler, the only thing I like in the movie is Palpatine. Interesting. That's one of the things that I like Palpatine in there. I like the performance. I like the tone. I like everything that it said. I like the way it was I don't like the way it came to be, but when Palpatine was on screen, it was fun. But on a broad stroke viewpoint, top-down view, it's one of my least favorite things about the movie, just because of how forced and ham-fisted it felt. As I said, when he's on screen, I got into it, I liked it, but the overall concept of this character coming back just kind of felt like a worse version of another Death Star in Return of the Jedi, right? What can we do? Let's just bring Palpatine back. It didn't do anything for me. I get why people loved it. I get why you liked it, Tyler. And I liked it when it was on screen in front of me. But when I pulled back and I looked at it as a big, broad, view, I'm not a big fan of the concept, right? But yeah, I read the chat. Late night, it's only... I wake up at 4 in the morning, man. Disturbed Shifty, thank you so much. The biggest problem with the sequel trilogy is Kathleen Kennedy should have been a Kevin Feige of the Star Wars universe. Should have been a Kevin Feige of the Star Wars universe. I don't really know how do I... one person calling the shots and pulling the strings and putting something together like that. Is that what you mean? That's not really... Wow, how do I put this? I don't want Star Wars to fall in that kind of repetition. I don't want Star Wars to become a Marvel. As much as, I appreciate those movies, they've kind of become formulaic. I don't want Star Wars to be that. That's one of my biggest fears about the franchise. And knowing that they're taking a little break is kind of gives me a little bit of reassurance. But I don't want Star Wars to kind of fall into that repetition, that kind of I don't know. I like the idea of a bunch of different ideas. I like the idea of a bunch of different stories not needing to all feel the same or even necessarily have one cohesive vision. I like the idea of a lot of creative hands being in the pot for a lot of different creative projects, if that makes sense. And if that makes jumbled canon, I don't care. I want I want Star Wars movies to be different and take chances, and the idea of kind of one massive vision, while it might make sense for canon, I guess, But for creativity, I think it might create dullness, if that makes sense. But that's just me. But you know, you do have like the story group. There is an element of oversight, right, in direction, and narrative and canon, I suppose. So there is that, but I think the team is probably bigger. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know if that's necessarily something that I would want, though, Shifty. I'm very curious how that's going to play in the future with Feige, right? But anyway, I appreciate that, man. In Star Wars Story, once again. Hey, HD, it's 2 a.m. and I'm off my meds. Please never show us your face. I prefer the mystery. If I fly to the U.S. from the UK this year, can I beer you a beer? Sure, man. Go for it. If you're ever close to Jacksonville, yeah, go for it, man. Yeah, the whole Stormtrooper helmet, the Greedo mask at the beginning, it was never my intention, really, to do this whole, I don't know, mystery thing. It just became a fun gimmick. Early on in the channel's existence, I actually planned on kind of not wearing it. Until I saw a bunch of people commenting on it, saying, show your face, never show your face, blah, 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 blah. And it turned into kind of like a character of its own. And I was like, okay, I'll play into this. It makes it more fun. And now the Stormtrooper helmet with the suit, although I don't wear the suit very often, is kind of a symbol for the channel, right? So no, I don't. If I ever do, you know, a lot of people have. I've met a lot of people over the years. I've taken pictures with some of them, and they've all been super cool about it, and they get it. You can go on my Instagram and see some pictures of me with like Star Wars Explained and Steel Saunders and you know, Ken Knapsack. And they've all been really cool about it, and even Dash Star was really cool about it. Oh, one sec.
Them as a whole, now I like bits and pieces of them. Lol.
Brandon Gray 666, thank you so much, man. Give me one sec. Yeah, it's fun. It's still fun. The whole mystery of it, right? But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Star Wars Cantina, you're podcasting. Oh, You're producing a series for Disney Plus. What's it about? Oh, man. What's it about? I would, honestly, it's a really dumb idea, but I would love a Star Wars show that was like Cheers, but in a cantina in the Outer Rim or something like that. That sounds dumb, but I would love the focus to be a cantina. That sounds stupid, but I don't know. The idea is so silly to me that I would love it. But no, the idea for a Disney Plus show that I would like, or something that I've talked about before, is something that's so far in the past where, you know, before the Jedi, before the Sith, when people discover the Force, and how they deal with this discovery. You know, maybe it's a small group that discovers it, that has this power, that has this this unique ability, and some people want to harbor it and harness it for themselves. Some people want to democratize it and spread this knowledge across the galaxy. Some people would want to destroy this knowledge, fearing it would get into the wrong hands. A show about the early stages of discovering the Force would be really interesting to me. Would that kill a lot of mystery? Maybe. Would that be too much? Maybe. But the idea of it would be so different than anything we've ever had before. I think something like that would be unique, you know. But yeah. Anyway, man, I appreciate that. And Ryomi04, thank you so much. Let me take a sip of the water. Ryomi04 says, hey, Greedo, I enjoyed The Force Awakens. Not a big fan of TLJ, and enjoyed The Rise of Skywalker, but I'm not the biggest fan of its shot style being more close/tight shots rather than more long shots from the originals. What do you think? Wish you the best. I appreciate that, man. So, yeah, I think I completely understand what you're saying, and the biggest, at least what I remember, some of the stuff when our main heroes fell into the sand that they, I don't know, they sunk into the sand and they ended up in those tunnels. And granted, there was it was a claustrophobic sequence, and I understand maybe they obviously didn't shoot it. I don't know, but a lot of those close-up shots felt very strange to me, especially when they encountered that creature down there. There were some very weird close-up shots there. So I completely get what you're saying. When it comes to like a movie like TLJ or TFA, I feel like they did have a bigger, a broader.
But in all seriousness,
1 sec.
I think the editing and trying to reverse TLJ and the fast pacing hurt it. I don't think we slowed down at all to digest what happened in the end. It was good, but not great.
Brandon, once again, thank you so much, man. Give me 1 sec, guys. Give me 1 sec. But Ryomi, with The Force Awakens and TLJ, from what I'm remembering of The Rise of Skywalker, it didn't have as many broad, grand shots. It didn't have, I mean, you could disagree, or at least beautiful shots. Memorable shots. Shots for the sake of like artistic shots. There were a lot, yeah, there were definitely a lot of like, and close-up tight shots are great, but what I'm remembering, and I'm excited to see this at home so I can actually digest it a little bit more and check it out, but I definitely like the visual style of The Force Awakens and TLJ more. And out of those two, I liked the visual style and the directorial style of TLJ for sure. That being said, I thought TFA was a better paced and more cohesive, tight movie, but TLJ I thought had more beautiful shots and more interesting concepts, right? So, it's fun, Ryomi, to see everybody saying like, I'm not a big fan of TLJ, but I loved, The Force Awakens, or I'm not a big fan of The Rise of Skywalker, but I love The Last Jedi. It's so fun to see how everybody's, list and favorites and least favorites in the sequel trilogy are all very different. I don't know, it's fun. But anyway, I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much for the generous super chat this evening. And Tom Ferrara, what's your thoughts on Zori and her interactions with Poe? That relationship between them, Tom, Zori Bliss and Poe Dameron, was some of my favorite interaction in the entire movie. Aside from Rey and Kylo, I thought they had the best chemistry on screen. One that I wish there was more of. I thought Zori and Poe had more of a chemistry than any of our other heroes that ran around and palled around with one another. At least that's from my perspective. There was, even without the history between them that was apparent, I thought they had a fun chemistry between them. Yeah, I mean, when they were on screen together, it was fun. I thought they had a really great chemistry. And that was like as soon as they were on screen together, it just clicked for me. It clicked for me. But I appreciate that, Tom. In Star Wars Story, HG, would you ever consider making a short fan film? Yeah, I've considered it in the past. Probably not nowadays. I did have a few pages of a script written out, Star Wars Story. And it's kind of funny. My idea for this fan film was, a squad of stormtroopers are on Endor. The battle is taking place. They're in the woods. They get a communication radio to them saying that, there's a downed TIE pilot somewhere in the vicinity. They have to go find this downed TIE fighter. They don't know if, the pilot's dead or alive, but they need to go for a rescue mission. When they receive this communication, they start their marching orders and they go walking towards it. And all of a sudden there's like a loud squelch on the over the intercom system in their helmets. They look up and the Death Star has exploded. This is an idea that I wrote back in 2013. And then when the Battlefront game came out, Battlefront 2 came out, and they see the Death Star explode over their head, I went, whoa, that wasn't such a unique idea in my brain as I thought it was. Are you bald? No, I'm not bald. You can scroll through my Instagram, and at some point you'll see my hair. So Star Wars story. I've definitely thought about that. There's some other ideas that I have, but man, it's just life has significantly changed since we had a kid, and I don't have time for any of that kind of stuff. But I would love to, and even a fan film, maybe not even Star Wars. I would love to do some other kind of short film other than Star Wars, something different. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Nathan Pelka, the new trilogy is great, but Solo is the best thing to come out so far. Absolutely fantastic movie. My favorite Star Wars movie, just above A New Hope. Interesting. So, for me, Nathan, Solo is pretty, low on my list of Star Wars movies. But I feel like I'm in the minority when it comes to that, Nathan. And I'm glad you thoroughly enjoyed it. So my Star Wars listing is this: A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. Sorry, can't get it out of my head. Grew up with it. I'm boring. Then it goes The Rise of Skywalker, or not The Rise of Skywalker, The Last Jedi, The Force Awakens, The Phantom Menace, Revenge of the Sith, The Rise of Skywalker, Solo, Rogue One, Attack of the Clones. That's my list. For me, Nathan, Solo, it was a fun. It's a Star Wars movie that the more I watch it, the more I like it. But for me, it felt like everything that we already knew about Han Solo was just mashed into this 2-hour flick, right? Han Solo meets Chewbacca, meets Lando, flies the Falcon, wins the Falcon, plays Sabacc, goes on the Kessel Run. Everything that we knew about Han Solo was just condensed into this one movie. So I understand why people like it. It was a fun romp. It was a really fun flick. I enjoy it, as I said, with each subsequent viewing. But it didn't really hit me. It didn't really hit me. But I appreciate that channel support this evening, Nathan. Sorry, guys. As I said earlier, I'm getting a pretty wicked cold, getting a sore throat, and talking on a live stream for 2 hours is not helping. But yeah. And Kaya Dathmir, they fly now. They fly now. They fly now. I liked it. People gave that, even before seeing the movie, people gave that line some shit. And I liked it. It fit. It felt fun. It felt fast-paced. Faster and more intense. But yeah, they fly now, Kai. It's good to see you, man. And Sergio, advice on recording audio and editing. Love you, HG. Man, definitely. So look up how to make your voice pop or something like that in Audacity, Sergio. For my videos, I record all my audio into this microphone. I have a Rode, is it an NT1? Yeah, I have a Rode NT1 microphone. It's great. It's awesome. It's overkill probably for most people and for me even. But I wanted something that I could use forever and be happy with. I take my audio into Audacity, Sergio. I do noise removal. I do normalize. I do equalization of bass and treble. I do compression. This is the order of it too. I do compression. I do normalize. I do limiter. I do normalize. So that's how it goes. That sounds like another language, right? So record audio, noise removal, normalize, equalize bass, equalize treble, compressor, normalize, limit to, I believe, 3, and then normalize. So there's a lot of just kind of things that I do to kind of boost the audio, make it pop more so than you're listening to right now. So, if that makes sense. If you don't have Audacity, Sergio, I'm assuming maybe you do. You might know a little bit about audio editing right now, but it's a free program. It's great. It does everything you need, and So yeah, look into kind of how to you can do a lot with like a lower end microphone. With a lot of the normalization and the equalization and the compression that you can do in post, right? But yeah. Anyway, best of luck, Sergio. And if you need any pointers, feel free to shoot a tweet at me with some specifics. All right. And Eric DeRiggy, thank you so much. Mandalorian end credits sound like Lord of the Rings Rocky remix. I didn't get... Well... I'm listening to this music in my head right now. In my headphones. And it's kind of interfering with me remembering the end credit music of The Mandalorian. That's crazy, right? Alright, sorry, man. Had to text my wife. I almost said, can you bring me up some more water? But I might just run to the bathroom and get some more water from the sink. But, yeah, I didn't get that vibe, Eric. But then again, I'd probably have to listen to them both. It reminds me of, I guess Lord of the Rings a little bit. I don't really get Rocky. Interesting. Maybe in the cadence of it. Maybe in the pacing of it. Yeah, I could see it in the cadence of the theme. Okay, but I'm gonna have to listen to those kind of side by side, do some comparisons. It definitely reminds me of kind of. A little bit old Clint Eastwood, right? And that's intentional for sure. But yeah. And yeah, like I said, I could probably hear some Rocky in there with the cadence of it for sure. But I appreciate that, man. In Star Wars Story, would you choose to compose... Oh, who would you choose to compose... Oh, did I? Oh, Star Wars Story. Who would you... Oh, Hans Zimmer, for sure, Star Wars Story. Are we... Did you already send that, or was that Star Wars Cantina?
Love Across the Stars is one of my favorite Star Wars themes. The way it sounds reminds me of the slow/romantic part of the indie theme. What's yours, Greedo?
Ryomi, once again, thank you so much, man. Star Wars Story. So maybe you missed my answer. But I would go with Hans Zimmer. If not John Williams, I would go with Hans Zimmer for sure. But I appreciate that, man. And Andrew Lamb. The Force Awakens was like drinking imported beer from Germany. TLJ was like drinking that IPA that you actually kind of like. And The Rise of Skywalker is like light beer that I'll drink because it's beer. How I rate them with beer. Let me read. Okay, so I wrote a... Well, I guess this isn't like that, but... I've made similar analogies there. I love that, though. That's kind of a fun way to look at it, Andrew. TLJ, for me, it would be like a deep stout. You know, I like all beer, but I prefer a good stout. TLJ is a good stout. I like your analogy there. I definitely like your analogy, especially the Rise of Skywalker being like a light beer that comes in a 24 pack and it's $17 and whatever. I like that for sure. Well, I'll read that little thing. I'm actually working on a video. It's talking about critics and audiences and stuff like that. And I compare critics to maybe being like certified cicerones with their nose deep in a beer, pulling out each note, judging it on the myriad of factors, while general audiences are more likely to say, hey, just give me something light. So maybe I think we're seeing eye to eye here on this this fun little beer analogy. But yeah. And Monsieur Eames? Mr. Eames? Thank you so much for the silent support there, man. I don't know if you meant to type a little message in there or if you wanted to be a silent supporter, but I appreciate all the same. Mr. Eames, thank you so much for that silent support this evening, man. And Vince Wynn, any advice for a first-time home buyer, not building but making big decision this year nonetheless? Yeah, it's very nerve-wracking, right, Vince? This is the second home we've owned. We sold our first home, which was kind of sad, you know. It was our first home. It was the home that me and my wife bought when we got married, and had a lot of good memories in there. It was downtown, you know, a lot of fun nights at the breweries and whatnot. But who cares about that shit, right? You're asking about buying a home. It's nerve-wracking, because there's a lot of unknown factors, and it sounds, you know, whenever you receive a piece of paper, it's like in another language. You're relying on maybe a realtor or something like that. One of the things that I would definitely recommend, Vince, is getting a realtor. A lot of the times, you know, the sellers will pay the realtor fees. Well, that's probably not the case for an already established home. With our well, I don't know. I don't know. See, I don't even know everything about it. But negotiate. Do not settle. You know, if you found your dream home, if it's an already established home, previous owners and whatnot, you know, I guess if you can, and you found the dream home, put a full price offer on. See how it goes. Or, you know, the market's probably pretty booming still right now. It was booming when we sold our house about 7-8 months ago. No, actually, it was about 7 or 8 months ago. And we had a lot of offers, and then boom, full price offer. Okay, we're done. Boom, all done. So if it's booming right now, be aggressive. And also at the same time, negotiate a little bit here and there. You know, if there's something that needs fixed on the home, do not neglect it. Negotiate the price down a little bit with a realtor, and try to get the price down a little bit for some repairs that you see needing to be done, if that makes sense. And I think one of the biggest things to do would be get a realtor. You know, it's very difficult to find the time to look over everything, to be able to understand everything, and that's what these people do. Right? They are they lift the weight off of your shoulders and tell you what you need to know, and they are your negotiator. They are your middleman. They are the person who can point you in the right direction and answer all your questions. It's important, right? So yeah, get a realtor and be aggressive, Vince. But best of luck, man. And maybe, I mean, I don't know if you have the ability to build new, not in terms of financially, but in terms of time. It's very difficult to find the time to build, you know, for 6 months and live somewhere, and it's kind of stressful. But everywhere around here, man, it's so competitive. The market is so competitive that brand new construction homes are cheaper most of the time than houses that are like 20 years old. It's weird. It's very strange. But yeah, best of luck, Vince. Best of luck. Me, enter Star Wars discussion stream. Also me, talks about Sriracha, Star Trek, and house hunting. No, I like it. I like it, dude. These Lightspeed lounges, Vince, are always all over the place. There's always a lot of topics of discussion. It's not all about Star Wars, right? So it's kind of like, as I said in the book, or as I've talked about in the book is a lot like these Lightspeed lounges. Oh, one second.
Twice. Well, might as well use this text to the full. You should check out Peter Serafinowi's ZP1 premiere experience and watch the Shundun Star Wars video.
I'm going to pull that up right now, Star Wars story, on my other monitor and make sure. Okay. Episode 1 premiere. Oh, interesting. Episode 1 premiere experience. Oh, this looks fun. Oh, this is going to be awesome. I'm so excited to see this. I remember him talking about him being cut out of Solo. I remember seeing that clip. Oh, this is fun. I appreciate you bringing this to my attention. Anyway, so, I appreciate that Star Wars story. Give me one sec, man. But yeah, I like it that way, Vince. I like it that way, Vince. But I appreciate that, man. And Brandon Gray 666. After a few more watches, I like to think of it like my wife. At first, I like them as a whole, but I like bits and pieces of them. Okay, yeah. Well, I like, yeah, okay. I get what you're saying, man. But oh, you sent 2 there. But in all seriousness, I think the editing and trying to reverse TLJ and the fast pace hurt it. I don't think we slowed down at all to digest what happened. In the end, it was good, but not great. Yeah, it was. The Rise of Skywalker particularly felt very, very rushed. You were just at full sprint the entire time. And that's, you need time to breathe. You need time to digest things. Things need to be paced out. And for me, that was one of the biggest detriments of the movie, was the constant running on the go. I get it. People like that. It's fun, but damn. When it's so jumbled and convoluted, it's definitely noticeable that, hey, let's take some time to breathe, right? Bits and pieces of the movie I really enjoyed. As I've stated ad nauseum now, the parts that I really enjoyed were Kylo and Rey, Rey and Ben. Everything else, man, literally everything else, just kind of, there were bits and pieces. There were lines of dialogue that made me chuckle. There were all sorts of things like that. Light speed jumping or whatever it was called was fun. Or skipping. But for the most part, everything else just kind of was a big shrug of the shoulders. Bits and pieces. I like the whole package of The Force Awakens. I think it was all, a part of that is like the build up to it. And just the nostalgia punch in the nose. I like a lot of bits and pieces in The Last Jedi. The vast majority of the movie I liked. And The Rise of Skywalker was a lot less, but yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Ryan Jost, no Darth Vader lightsaber in The Rise of Skywalker. 0 out of 10. Darth Vader lightsaber? No Darth Vader lightsaber? You wanted it to be in there, Ryan? Oh wait, are you talking about Dark? There is no Dark. What? Darth Vader lightsaber. What do you mean? No globes for The Rise of Skywalker out there. Oh yeah, I forgot the Golden Globes you're on right now. You can't have everything. You can't have everything in the movie, old Ryan. There's a lot of things that people wish were in there. A lot of things that people wish were changed and different. I think you're being facetious there, though. But I appreciate that, Ryan. And John H., Happy New Year, HG. Been a while. Hope all is well. Yeah, all is well, man. Happy New Year right back at you, John. I don't know how long it's been a while. You probably haven't been to a stream since we got our new house, but so we sold our house back in like June, and then we moved in with my folks for about 6 months, and we closed on our house a couple weeks ago. So we moved into our new house. It's still mind-blowing to me that this is ours. My office is twice as big as my old office. Well, not that much. I mean, it's not twice as big, but dude, I actually have like 5 or 6 feet between me and my table that's behind me. In my old office at our old house, if I swiveled my chair behind me, my knees would basically hit my dresser. Now there's space. I have room. I can utilize the full office and the full green screen since before episode 9. Okay, yeah, John. So, yeah, it's been a little bit for sure, but yeah, man, things are going well. Loving the new house. It's definitely a change. Like I said earlier, we used to live downtown, and when we first got married, we utilized all the bars and the awesome restaurants and just the vibe of the city. But then we had a kid, and our priorities obviously changed, and what we wanted to do changed, and we ended up selling the house and buying a house in the suburbs. So it's a big change, but it's fun. It's pretty neat. But yeah. I appreciate that, John. I hope everything's going well with you too, and Happy New Year right back at you, man. And Luke Richardville, please skip Ryan Joseph's message. I didn't. Why did you want me to? The silliness of it? I didn't, but I apologize for not, I guess, Luke. But I appreciate that, man. I can't skip him. In Ian Fox, you should turn on slow mode so you can see chats. Well, the chat doesn't go that fast. Like, when I look at a streamer with thousands of viewers and people in the chat, like a PewDiePie, right? You might as well just be yelling into the void on a PewDiePie stream. I've never actually. Well, no. I take that back. I think I have turned on slow mode once, Ian, and that was after The Last Jedi. After The Last Jedi, I think I did a stream. I think that went for like 4 hours or something outrageous, and I turned on slow mode. But you know, slow mode's good for stuff like that. It's. I think that the chat's pretty good paced, you know. But yeah, I appreciate that, man. I'm sure I'll utilize it sometime in the future. Space Metal Ferrari, HG, what's your favorite film from each trilogy? Original trilogy is A New Hope. Prequel trilogy is The Phantom Menace. And sequel trilogy is The Last Jedi. And Doug McCool, your fan film should be about a long hyperspace drive in a small craft with an infant in the car. Dude, Doug McCool, I love that idea. See, I love that. Small scale. I like where your head's at. Small scale. Could make it goofy. Make it 5 minutes, 10 minutes long. Take some real life experiences from a real life scenario like that. Pull them into the Star Wars world, right? Flying through interstellar space. A kid in the back. Trying to turn on some lullabies. You got 8 hours to go until we hit, planet Bleep Blorp. Huh. I love that idea, Doug. I love that idea. You know, everybody wants to do these grand fan films where everything is basically a lightsaber effects test or a force lightning effects tests. And you just throw a bunch of stuff on screen and it's a big visual effects test. I want to do what Doug just brought up. Flying through space with the kid in the back seat and Stormtrooper helmet on. I dig it, Doug. We have to pull over. She needs a change. I love it. Oh yeah, I've been there for sure. Wait, what's that smell? Oh no. Did I forget the diaper bag? Oh crap. I've done that plenty of times. Well, yeah, man, I appreciate that. And Kyle Taylor, thank you so much as well. What were your thoughts on Rey's heritage? Not a fan. Kyle, I think I love the idea of Rey being a nobody. It's one of the most interesting things about this sequel trilogy, or was the most interesting thing. This character from nothing, from nowhere, becoming something. It's don't we all love a story where people pull themselves up from nothing and become something? I found it interesting. Now, the to me shoehorned idea of her being a Palpatine felt so wonky, even in the delivery of the reveal. It did nothing for me. Her being a Palpatine did nothing for me. I'm actually making a video, and I'm hoping to get it out either tomorrow or the next day, early in this week at least. And I talk about that even more. I don't understand why everything needs to be connected. I've never understood that mentality that some fans have. For me, it's not important. You know, heritage here and there, cool, great, I get it. But when everything needs to be connected through bloodline, it makes the universe feel small to me. I've always harped on the idea of needing new characters, wanting new characters, and that includes lineage. The fact that she's a Palpatine does nothing for me. It literally does nothing for me. detracts from the character, in my opinion, rather than adds anything to the character. We've had, but now it shows that, just because you're from an evil family or whatnot, or the granddaughter of an evil bastard, doesn't mean you're going to be an evil bastard. Yeah, we've had that concept before, in Star Wars. I like the idea of her being no one from nowhere and rising to greatness. It's interesting. But anyway, I appreciate that, Kyle. And Ryomi04, Love Across the Stars is one of my favorite Star Wars themes. The way it sounds reminds me of slow romantic part of the indie film. What's yours, Greedo? Okay, so aside from the main theme, I think my favorite Star Wars theme, aside from the main theme, of course, is the throne room theme at the end of A New Hope. It is so triumphant, and the way it flows directly into the credits, it's so just kind of marchy and attaboy, we got him, we won. Let's celebrate. It's to me, it's definitely, I would say my favorite theme out of everything. That being said, like Rey's theme is just beautiful and melodic. I love it for different reasons, but the throne room theme at the end of A New Hope is great. It's my favorite. Me and my wife actually walked out to the Star Wars theme at our wedding. It was fun. It was my decision. Everyone in our wedding party walked out to a different John Williams theme song. So, two of them walked out to, Jaws or Superman, stuff like that. And we walked out to the main theme. And it was a debate in my own brain. Should we walk out to the main theme of Star Wars or the throne room theme? And ultimately I decided the main theme. I think people would get it quicker. But yeah, anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Oscar Rodriguez, if Forrest Gump was in Star Wars, what role do you think he would have played in the galaxy? What events would he take part in between episodes 1 and 9? Forrest Gump in Star Wars, Oscar. I'm guessing I can see him being a droid repairman, like a somebody who is very.
Want to see Larry David get his chance to play the all-powerful Senate Emperor Darth Sidious Palpatine in the Disney original series. Curb your unlimited power.
I dig it, Vince. Give me 1 sec, man. I could see him being like a merchant or some kind of droid repairman that runs a small shop. He's very, very knowledgeable about like one thing. Does that make sense? I don't think he would partake in any events. I could see him just kind of living a small life, greeting travelers that need some help. Maybe he gets inadvertently pulled into different situations and scenarios and dangerous things, but not by his own wants or wishes. Does that make sense? Oh, there you go. Ezra likes music. I think Gump would accidentally become a spice runner. That's a good way to look at it. Gump would accidentally become something like that. He would accidentally become something like that through either gullibility or not realizing that what he's doing is illegal or wrong. But I like, yeah, for sure. Gets pulled in, gets accidentally, does something. I like that. But I appreciate that, Oscar. And Star Wars Story, didn't mean to send the composer question twice. Well, might as well use this text to the full. You should check out Peter. I already talked about this. I have it pulled up. There we go. I accidentally navigated away from it. I found it right here. I love what you know this Star Wars Story. One of my favorite things to do on this channel is research people's reactions from the past, whether that be The Phantom Menace, or I've done a video about A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back. I've even done a video recently about the Clone Wars, people's reaction, their first reaction to the Clone Wars show. And I love kind of jumping in that time machine and seeing what people thought, individuals and critics of certain things. And to have this, it looks like it's about 20 minutes long. Knowing that I'm going to be able to watch it maybe tomorrow when I mow some grass, put my headphones in, is very exciting to me. But I appreciate that, man. And Iron Honey, have you seen Star Trek Into Darkness? It sort of suffers from the same feeling and over-reliance on nostalgia as The Rise of Skywalker, and both are by JJ. Sorry, man. Yes, I've seen it. I actually own it on Blu-ray. I definitely like Star Trek 2009 better. I think Star Trek 2009 was such a fun, I love Star Trek, and the Next Generation is my Star Trek, and obviously this new Star Trek stuff doesn't really feel that same way, but I thoroughly loved Star Trek 2009. The characters are great, the cast has a great chemistry. Now, Into Darkness was, like you said, a reliance on nostalgia. It didn't really do anything new. It was rehashing old ideas. I haven't really thought about it in that context. The Rise of Skywalker in the context of Star Trek Into Darkness, Iron Honey. That's interesting now that you put that together. Very heavily relying on things of the past. Very heavily relying. And in the case of Into Darkness, it's heavily relying on a movie. Not even not even in-universe stuff, like the production of a movie, heavily relying on ideas and concepts that came before. Interesting. That might be an idea for a video. Interesting. I'm just kind of thinking about scenes and stuff like that. You might have just given me an idea for a video, Iron Honey. I'm gonna sleep on that and maybe wake up and hash out some ideas and see if I can make that into an actual video. Relying on nostalgia, Into Darkness. I'm sure there's other examples too. Interesting. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Lamar, thank you so much once again. Star Wars meets Raising Arizona. Yeah, there needs to be more stuff like that, right? When did that come out? 1987. Holy hell, that's a lot older than I thought. Is that the Coen brothers' first movie? Let's see. Let's see what their first movie was. Let's go with, they're producers, writer, director. Let's see what their directors. Not necessarily. That wasn't their first feature. Their first feature was Blood Simple and then Raising Arizona, 1984 and 1987. Blood Simple. Wow, they have a lot more movies than I thought they did. That I've never seen, or some I've never even heard of. Interesting. Yeah, I would dig it. I want weird ideas for the future of Star Wars, Lamar. For the franchise to stay fresh and new and inventive. Let's get some weirdness in there for sure. But I appreciate that, man. And Amanda Rosenblatt, I like The Rise of Skywalker. Wasn't phenomenal, but I enjoyed it. I'm glad you liked it. For me, it was just kind of I don't know. I'm still pretty 50-50 on it, Amanda, and I'm excited to see it. I'm definitely gonna watch it more times, right? And I'm very excited for the home viewing of it because I'll be able to sit down with a notepad and actually, as dumb as that sounds, right? Oh, you're gonna sit down with a notepad and write about the movie. How cool. But I'm excited to do that. And I might even do a commentary. Maybe this is one of the a Star Wars movie that I do a commentary on. But for me, yeah, Amanda, it's kind of like, a lot of the ideas are kind of felt very unimaginative and uninventive to me. I get why people like it. I get why people love it. But for me, it was just kind of a shrug of the shoulders. And I wish that wasn't the case, but it was just kind of, it's just there. It exists. But yeah, I appreciate that, Amanda. It's always, as I've said before, it's always great when there's something that I don't really care for, but and I seem to be in the minority. That's good. That's a good thing. I want people to like things that I don't like, right? That means they're hitting chords with other aspects of the fandom and not just me, right? But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate it. It was just there. Haha, agreed. Yeah, it exists. There's other Star Wars movies for me that just, that just exist. But yeah, I appreciate that. And Vince Wynn, want to see Larry David get his chance to play the all-powerful Senate Emperor Darth Sidious Palpatine in the Disney Plus original series, Curb Your Unlimited Power. Well, all joking aside, Vince, Curb Your Enthusiasm is something that I always recommend to people. I think it's one of my favorite comedies of all time. Like Seinfeld, obviously Larry David Seinfeld. Seinfeld, Curb Your Enthusiasm are and The Office are probably three of my favorite comedies of all time. And it's hard for me to pick favorite movie comedies of all time because some of them, there's a lot, I don't know, there's a lot of them, but a lot of them are not my cup of tea. I like comedy shows, it seems, more than movies. And Curb Your Enthusiasm has the perfect mixture of that awkward sense of humor that I love, that situational awkwardness. And Larry David in that show is such a selfish dipshit, but I love him. I love him in the show. I've been trying to get my parents to watch it because, I grew up watching Seinfeld with them. We've seen all Seinfeld episodes. They're big Seinfeld fans, but they've never watched Curb Your Enthusiasm. And I've been trying to get them to watch it for a very long time. Maybe one day. Maybe it's going to be me needing to hit play for them and sit down and watch an episode. And you need to get through the first one or two seasons to really find its footing, like a lot of shows do. But Curb Your Enthusiasm, man, if you guys have never seen it, dude, there are some scenes in there that at the expense of, that are so ridiculously funny that they had me crying with laughter harder than anything I've ever seen on TV or movies, for sure. But anyway, Vince, I appreciate that, man. And Star Wars Story. Chewie has 3 medals, Holiday Special, Comic, and The Rise of Skywalker. Is The Rise of Skywalker the only one that's canon? Is it? Is the comic? The Holiday Special's not canon, but is Comic canon? I don't know. That's interesting. Was Chewie's medal... Okay, I haven't seen... This is just pure assumption, Star Wars Story. Was Chewie's medal Han's medal? Was it? Or was it a new medal? I haven't seen anything on this, so I don't know. But watching it, I assumed that Maz Kanata was giving Chewie Han's medal. Or maybe it was a brand new medal. Maybe that's just some headcanon that I created in my head. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that Star Wars Story. So he has too many medals. Anyway. I appreciate that. And Doug McCool, thank you so much for the silent support there. I greatly appreciate that, man. I ran out of water. I'm desperate. That was Hans Metal? Okay, cool. Nice. I assumed it was. All right, awesome. Doug McCool, thank you so much for the silent support this evening, man. I appreciate the hell out of that. And the old short film idea. But thanks, man. And Sapity, thoughts on John Williams' cameo? Kind of liked it. Nice little thing considering it's his last Star Wars film he does the score to. I love it. And what sucks, Sapity, is that I didn't notice it in the theater. I didn't notice that was him. I don't even remember seeing that part. But I did see some, like, you know, pictures of people taking pictures in the theater of the cameo, and when I saw it I was like, oh, that's awesome. So I love it as a cameo. I love the closure that, like, as you said, it's the last Star Wars film that he's ever going to score, supposedly. I believe that to be the case, and to have him actually be in there with a cameo is it's just yeah, it's a nice moment for sure. And I'm super bummed that I did not see it in the theater, that cameo. I'm super bummed that I missed it. Yeah, it's nice. And it's obviously not, like, in your face, because I completely missed it. So subtle that I missed it. But I appreciate that, man. Ooh, I need some water. Vince Wynn, this long-ass stream. How will you react to first alien contact? Also, have you ever seen The Day the Earth Stood Still from 52? I have. That, Close Encounters, E.T., and Arrival are my favorite alien Arrival films. Yes, I've seen all of those. Close Encounters. Oh, E.T., man, that's tough. I don't know what my favorite one is. E.T. was probably my favorite growing up. But then again, Independence Day, because attaboy, Boy Scouty, let's kick some ass. And what child boy doesn't like that? E.T. was my favorite growing up. Close Encounters was probably my favorite when I was a teenager, I would say. I love them both. So how would I react to first alien contact? It would just be such an intense experience for me. I don't think, first contact will ever come in my lifetime. I think first contact won't be like it is in the movies where, they come down and they visit and all that kind of stuff. I think first contact will more than likely be a communication, something through SETI even, or a future project similar to SETI. It will be a form of communication in that way. That's far more likely considering the distances and the scale and scope of things. It would be a world-changing event, Vince, to know that we are not alone. I mean, it's to me, it's pretty likely, if not guaranteed, that we are not alone in this universe made up of hundreds of billions, or trillions, an infinite number of galaxies, each with hundreds of billions or trillions of stars, as is the case with the Andromeda Galaxy, which we're flying to right now. Each with hundreds of billions, an incalculable number of planets, and the Goldilocks zone. To have our little humdrum corner of the old bayou in the universe be the only one that has life on it is highly unlikely to me. But the distances are so vast in scale and scope that the idea of first contact being face to face is unlikely to me. That being said, who knows? I mean, you think of another species on another, in another star system, given enough time, how they would be able to traverse, intergalactic space even. The possibilities are endless, But I've thought about that a lot, Vince. And I think that when that does happen, if it does happen, if we don't destroy ourselves first, if it's even possible, I think the way we measure time would change as well. The calendar would change. We would no longer look at, BC, AD. We would look at first contact, or before contact and after contact. Everything would change. everything would change. And I think it would be incredible. I think it would be incredible. But anyway, I appreciate that question. And Creed Bratton, would you have loved the sequel trilogy as a kid? Oh, dude, absolutely, man. I feel like if I was a kid, I was 13 when the prequels came out. I was 13. I wasn't the biggest fan of them, as is evident. And, you know, I feel like if I was a little younger, that would have been my Star Wars. I feel like if I was a little younger, that would have been my Star Wars. So, with the sequel trilogy, if I was 9, 10 years old growing up with the sequel trilogy, I think the sequel trilogy would be my Star Wars. Our Star Wars seems to be the Star Wars that we grew up with. So yes, I thoroughly enjoy the sequel trilogy. The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi are such great flicks to me. I love them through and through. I have problems with both. That's me looking at things with a critical eye, as we all do. The Rise of Skywalker, I don't know. It exists. But yes, I'm going to say that if I was a kid watching the sequel trilogy, it would be my Star Wars, and I would absolutely love it. And I'd be willing to bet the vast majority of people that don't like the sequel trilogy, if that was the case, if they grew up with it 8, 9, 10 years old, that would be the case for them as well. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Star Wars Story, final super chat of the evening before I jump off and chug a giant Nalgene of water. Star Wars Story, HG, if you could meet one celebrity, who would it be? Ooh, Neil deGrasse Tyson, I think. I think Neil deGrasse Tyson would be the one that I would want to meet. Before that, it would be Carl Sagan, but Carl Sagan hasn't been with us for a very long time. I think it would be Neil deGrasse Tyson. I think it would be fun to sit down and pick his brain, and I like his cosmic perspective on things. It's very inspiring, and I like the way he interprets things and spins things to make it digestible and fun. You know, relays difficult scientific concepts into layman's terms that even dummies like me can understand. You know, so it would be a Neil deGrasse Tyson for sure. But yeah. But I appreciate that, man. And Vince Wynn, final super chat of the stream. No oops. It's all good, man. Watched Ad Astra, loved. I'm no scientist, but I had some issues. However, I was intensely emotionally affected by it. I can't stop thinking about it. I'm glad you said that. As I said earlier in the stream, our 3 top movies we want to watch right now whenever we find the time is The Lighthouse, Ad Astra, and Knives Out. Knives Out, I don't believe, is available for any streaming right now. When it becomes available, that's going to rise to the top of our list. We really, really want to watch it. But yeah, Ad Astra is available, I believe. Ad Astra. You have to rent it or buy it, right? So Google Play from $6. I have like $13 in Google Play, so I think I'll watch that for sure. But I'm excited to see it. It's one of those movies, like, I looked at the Rotten Tomatoes score, Vince. 84% critics. And I went, oh, awesome. And then 40% audience score. And I went, oh, awesome. That means I'll probably like it. It's so funny how vastly different, for a lot of movies, critic and audience scores are. I actually have a video I'm working on about that. Kind of maybe reasons why. But yeah. Anyway, Vince. I appreciate it, man, and I'm excited to see it. I've heard from people that I kind of see eye to eye with when it comes to movies. I think it'll be a movie that I enjoy. So anyway, Vince, I appreciate that, man. All right, guys, I'm gonna jet. That was 2.5 hours. I actually told my wife, I said I'm gonna hop on for maybe 30 minutes to an hour. Here we are, 2.5 hours later. Goodness gracious, we covered a lot of topics. A lot of Rise of Skywalker, a little dash of pepper with the aliens in there, and First Contact, all sorts of fun stuff. But all right, guys, I'm gonna be working on some videos tomorrow. I don't know if I'll do a stream. Oh yeah. Tomorrow night, guys, is the supporter Q&A. So if you're a patron, if you're a fleet member, I will be doing the supporter Q&A tomorrow night, probably starting around like 7:30 p.m. Eastern time or so. I will be covering questions that I got for December and also questions that I got for January. It's probably going to be a pretty long supporter Q&A. just because I was not able to do a supporter Q&A in December. And I hate that I wasn't able to. It was just moving in with the new house and Christmas and chaos. So I will be doing that tomorrow night. So, yeah. Thanks for hanging out with me for a couple hours, guys. And to everybody that supported the channel this evening, I appreciate the hell out of it. I'm excited to get some videos out. I'm working on a really silly, dumb video that will get no views, but I love it. I love the idea of it. It's really stupid. And I'm also working on another Rise of Skywalker video that is sure to be divisive. But you got to say what you want to say, right? So, all right, guys. And Nightbot, thank you for posting the book right there. Right in time, right before I jetted out. That was not intentional, but Nightbot knows. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. To everybody that supported the channel tonight, thank you so much. The channel survives because of you guys. And I will catch you all on the flip side, yeah. I'll see you when I see you. I'm not too sure when the next stream will be, other than the supporter Q&A tomorrow night, but I'll probably do a few streams this week. So, all right, have a good week. If I don't see ya, I will see ya when I see ya. Cool? All right. Hyperspace Baby Drive video, do it. Oh yeah. I think I'm gonna do that, man. I think I'm gonna have to do that. My daughter's not gonna cooperate with the video, so I might like green screen myself and shrink myself down and pretend to be a baby. I might have to do that. So, all right, guys, enjoy your week, man, and I'll see y'all when I see ya. Let's play a fun song to end the stream. All right, guys, later. See ya.